Hello and welcome to our Nigerian viewers and viewers around the world. This is Galaxy TV News. Let's get things started. Federal government says over 1.57 million candidates are currently writing the 2021 West African Senior School Certificate examinations across Nigeria. Plus on the news, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu signs bill prohibiting open cattle grazing in the state into law. And outside Nigeria, officials say a gunman has killed 6 people at the university in Russia. We have details of these stories and more in just a moment. And now, wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. On our first story, the Federal Ministry of Education says over 1.57 million candidates are currently sitting for the 2021 West African Senior School Certificate examinations across Nigeria. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Sonny Echono, made this disclosure while monitoring the conduct of the examinations in one of the secondary schools in Abuja on Monday. Now, according to him, the examination is holding in 19,000 centers across the nation, adding that the centers are complying with the ethics and standards of examination.
This was chosen especially because you know mathematics is a compulsory subject, and I wanted to get a feel at optimal level how the exams are going. We are very pleased that all around the country exams are going on peacefully. We have a total of slightly under 20,000 examinations, 19,000 and over exam centers all across the country. More than 1.57 million candidates registered for these exams.
Now, the Permanent Secretary, however, disclosed that the federal government is addressing incidences and cases of examination malpractices already recorded during tertiary admissions exams and would arrest any person found culpable. In a related development, the ministry reiterated that the Presidential Visitation Panel to the University of Lagos did not indict the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ogundipe, and the management of the university.
So this distraction is unnecessary. The only outstanding matter from the white paper of the Special Presidential Visitation Panel is the reference that says all allegations against the Vice Chancellor and the management, both old and new, should be presented and submitted to the regular visitation panel.
And away from education stories, here in Lagos, the Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has signed the bill prohibiting open cattle grazing in the state into law. Sanwo-Olu, who assented to the bill during the State Executive Council meeting in Alausa on Monday, directed security agencies to swing immediately into action and enforce provisions of the law. He said that by implication, it is now criminal in Lagos for cattle rearers to occupy unapproved public areas and private land with their livestock for grazing. The law also prohibits the act of moving cattle around public places by herders. The signing of the anti-open grazing law by the governor followed the decision of the Southern Governors Forum last August, setting the September deadline to pass the law across member states. Although farmer herder crisis is not pronounced in Lagos, the anti-open grazing law is expected to prevent the spillover of the menace into the state. Now, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State has directed the immediate commencement of deduction of salaries of civil servants and 10% contribution to be remitted to the Benue State Health Insurance Agency. The governor further approved enrollment of public servants in the State Health Insurance Scheme. The governor, who was represented by the head of service, Veronica Onyeke gave the directive at the sensitization meeting with organized labor in Benue State, which was organized by Benue State Health Insurance Agency in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Commissioner for Health and Human Services in that state, Dr. Joseph Ngbe, appreciated Governor Samuel Ortom for signing the act into law. Meanwhile, Executive Secretary of the agency enumerated benefits of the Health Insurance Agency in Benue State, thanking Governor Ortom for giving his seal of authority and financial backing to ensure that the scheme commences in the state. And now to court stories. There is no set date for the trial of 5 youths arrested at the Dunamis Church, Abuja, on July 4 for wearing T-shirts with the Buhari Must Go inscription. This is because the case file is currently being moved from one magistrate court to another with no clear timeline for hearing the matter. Galaxy's Godfrey Shomoge reports that the youths known as the Dunamis 5 were arraigned in Abuja at the Mpape Magistrate Court before the case file was moved to another magistrate court at Wuse Zone 2 following the transfer of the magistrate in charge of the case to a new location. As of Monday, the case file has been returned to the Mpape Court with no representative of the Department of State Services, DSS, who are prosecuting the case to give any information on the state of the case.
The matter was adjourned for today, September 20th, at Wuse 2, Chief Magistrate Court, Court 10, and we were there before 9 o'clock this morning. On getting to that place, we discovered that our matter was not on the court list. So when the court resumed sitting, we brought it to the attention of the magistrate that our matter was not on the court list. He now informed us that after he was transferred, he brought those cases with our own to that court.
Meanwhile, a rights enforcement suit by the Dunamis 5 challenging the arrest is presently before Justice Anwule Chikere of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now let's shift our focus to party politics for a moment, as aggrieved leaders of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Oyo State, under the aegis of the PDP stakeholders, have passed a vote of no confidence in the leadership of Governor Seyi Makinde in the state ahead of the Congress of the party that is slated to begin this Saturday, September 25. They reached the conclusion at a meeting held in Ibadan, the state capital, on Monday, which was attended by Deputy Governor of the state and former Majority Leader, House of Representatives Mulikat Adeola Konde, among others. Correspondent Kunlojo reports that the stakeholders vowed to ensure they do everything to prevent the emergence of Governor Makinde from getting the party's ticket for second term. Some of the speakers maintain that in spite of the fact that they worked for the emergence of Governor Makinde in 2019, they have been neglected, while those who were not around during the elections are the ones benefiting from the government.
Traditional headquarters for the world, our people should go there. They should be peaceful. They should go there with the mind of doing the Congress with the other people. In any Congress, there is either consensus or there is, you have 2 or more candidates who are willing to vote. So where you have 2 or more, there will be lining up behind the various candidates, and whoever wins, we are okay with it.
Basically to reinforce our upcoming Congress. And we're talking to our members in the local government. We want a peaceful Congress. Basically, we're trying to. PDP is known for good governance, and we want to continue to maintain it.
This coming Saturday, September 25th, and our local government Congress is coming up on October 5th of next month. Likewise, the State Congress, October 16th next month. And our leaders think that they need to, all hands must be on deck to prepare the members, to send the signal outside for the members, for them to be well attended in their various wards, to coordinate themselves.
However, the vote of no confidence was quickly punctured by the Publicity Secretary of the PDP in the state, Akim Olatunji, who described the exercise as a mere comedy and a joke of the century, adding that more than 95% of PDP members are solidly behind Governor Makinde. Olatunji, in a telephone interview with our correspondent, said the group that passed a vote of no confidence, according to him, is one among more than 1,000 groups within the party in the state. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's take a breather, but in the second part of our news package, 8 persons have been hospitalized as cholera outbreak hits Oyo State. We will tell you more on that story on the other side. Stay with us. You're welcome back. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV, and we absolutely appreciate it. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our Eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. Simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. Now to health stories. No fewer than 8 persons are currently receiving medical attention at General Hospital following the outbreak of cholera in Irekpo local government area of Oyo State. Assistant Commandant and Head of Disaster Management of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC Oyo State Command, Show Umaru, confirmed the development on Monday. He said the rescue team and nurses visited the General Hospital case in order to know the extent at which the cholera epidemic has affected the public, adding that during the investigation, the matron of the hospital, Tijani Aminat, informed the team that patients are being brought daily for treatment of cholera. He confirmed that 8 patients are on admission but are in stable condition. Shehu said investigations further reveal that the causes of the disease include poor hygiene, open defecation, and eating of contaminated foods. Now, today, Monday, makes it 50 days of the industrial action by the National Association of Resident Doctors protesting needs bothering around their welfare. The union is agitating the fulfillment of agreement on the part of the federal government reached by both parties in time past. Galaxy's Tife Tanimomo tells us more in this report.
Resident doctors have over time registered their dissatisfaction on how their needs are attended to by the federal government, despite assurances and promises from Minister of Health, Dr. Ehenari Osage, and his counterpart, Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. The National Industrial Court had ordered members of the National Association of Resident Doctors to suspend their strike on 17th September 2021, asking both the association and the federal government to return to negotiation tables to reach a compromise, but resident doctors are yet to call off the strike regardless. While speaking with Galaxy Television, stakeholders attributed the non-compliance of resident doctors to the court order to distrust of the association of the federal government, advocating that their needs should be met.
The government should look into those things they are complaining, because it appears that they don't trust the government. I read somewhere where they say that there's no sincerity in the agreement because the agreement entered since 2009 has not been implemented. And each time, the government continues to feed us with wrong information that they have implemented this, implemented this, implemented this. But the doctors are coming out to refute it, that even the one signed 2009 has not been implemented. Yes, we agree that they are life-saving people. But then at the same time, a worker deserves his wages. So the government should do that which they've agreed.
Dialogue. Federal government should dialogue with the doctors and find a common ground. Yes, in a situation like this, you don't always get it 100% right. Doctors should also shed some of their weight and understand the situation that we are in now, especially the financial situation of the government. Because of the pandemic, the government revenue has shrinked. And what they need to do now is to speak to these doctors and have an agreement with them.
Legal practitioners, however, noted the association should attend to the matter diplomatically by appealing the case and considering members of the society who are affected by this action.
The court has asked the resident doctors to resume work while the substantive suit is being looked into. And that is the court of the land, and the societies are guided by laws. And one would expect the resident doctors to obey the court's order while the substantive matter is being looked into. The doctors, by the fact that they swore to the Hippocratic oath, life is more important. They should look at the life that would suffer. Yes, their demands, they are quite valid, no doubt about that, but we have to find a middle point.
The options that they have is either to resume and still fight what they want to fight, or they appeal the order of the court. Because, so to say, going against the order of the court is also, it's not something that I will want to advise and say, okay, they should not suspend the strike. Well, the option they can have to be able to continue the strike is that they are appealing the decision of the court as that it is now.
Very unfortunate that it is the ordinary man that is bearing the brunt. These are actions that are instigated by the mighty in the society. They can afford to take flight out of the country for for minimal ailments. But the ordinary man on the streets has no helper, no voice. It's very unfortunate. But my appeal generally is to the resident doctors to temper justice with mercy. Have mercy on the suffering ordinary Nigerians on the street.
Tife Tani Momo, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
And now, amid reactions to the declaration by Edo and Ondo state governments regarding restricting access to public places for unvaccinated residents, and the federal government proposed sanctions on Nigerians who refuse COVID-19 vaccination, a development that has stirred reactions by many Nigerians. In a chat with Galaxy's Daniel Tanimu, legal practitioner Elvis Asia, and a public analyst, Onyedika Anusio highlights the need for governments to make the vaccine available and accessible to the people before making any restrictions. They further say Nigerians have the right not to take the vaccine, except the government can put laws in place to make it mandatory if the lives of her citizens are in danger.
There's a competing right of the people to say, you can't force me to give me an injection by way of the vaccine, but government has a right, in fact, a constitutional duty to protect the public from the spread of a contagious disease such as COVID. The only challenge I have with Nigerian version of compulsion is that we don't even have enough vaccines as we speak. Even if all Nigerians had to go to say we are going to vaccinate, for example, we don't have the requisite number of vaccines to give them. And so it would not be fair to say they will be prevented from accessing certain public places because of the lack of vaccination.
When you say government is making it compulsory let's say, before you can access government buildings and all of that. I mean, aside everything, there are people who are unable to take the vaccine due to health reasons or particular conditions that they suffer from. So are you going to say that people like that can no longer access government services because they actually have valid reasons not to take the vaccine? Of course, vaccine skepticism is a thing around the world.
Now, they further called on the government to properly educate and enlighten Nigerians on the importance of vaccination and to eradicate the conspiracy theories surrounding the COVID-19 vaccines in the country.
I also believe that the problem we have is that government has allowed charlatans and religious bigots to control the narratives on vaccine. That's the problem we are having. We have not built the requisite trust. You need to earn people's trust in this vaccine. People need to know what it is. The government needs to be transparent about it. And there are other ways you can encourage people to vaccinate. Because when you want to compare people, the danger with that is that it will further give fuel to the conspiracy theories that, something is fishy about this vaccine.
I think more of enlightenment will help for people who are vaccine skeptics. Making it compulsory. I mean, we have to consider our multi-ethnic and multi-religious society. People believe different things and for different reasons. It took a lot of grassroots work, teaching people, informing them, making them realize the importance of taking this.
Let's stay with the COVID-19 pandemic for a moment. As the battle against the virus continues, the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria has advised the federal government to decentralize the administration of the COVID-19 vaccines across the country. According to the body, this will make the vaccines available to all Nigerians and ensure that more people are vaccinated. Correspondent Kunlo Joe reports that the chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Oyo State Chapter, pharmacist Oguntoye Adegboyega, while speaking with newsmen in Ibadan, decried government's attitude towards members of the society, adding that the spread of the pandemic would have been contained effectively if all segments in the health sector are carried along.
Approved that pharmacists should be classified as frontline caregivers, and in developed country, that is why most of this COVID-19 vaccine, they allow pharmacy to be given it because in their facilities. You don't have to now trek from your home to one health center. And because moving from that head to the other head, you must have crossed a lot of boundaries. But you have pharmacy very close to you. You can access at your own convenient time.
He called on the government to do the needful, adding that pharmacies are closer to the people than any other medical practitioner in the health sector. On the issue of drug abuse, pharmacist Oguntoye and other members of the union in the state accused the government of laxity, adding that the body, on its part, has been doing its best in this regard.
In Nigeria, everybody wants to handle drugs, and we used to tell people drugs are potential poison. As simple as paracetamol is, once you take it more than the required dose, you are doing more harm to your system. A lot of people are telling you, one tablet is not enough, I take 4, I take 6, just wait, just a matter of few days and few years to come. They have to battle with some issue concerning their organs.
By Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, which has the mandate to do that in Nigeria, and also to enforce places that are not registered by sealing up such premises. Enforcement team goes around, and last year, if you are parents, you see that in Kano, they seal over 500 premises in needs of their mandates.
Pharmacies that you see everywhere, and that's the places most people know as pharmacists. How are they your friend in a community pharmacy setting? Community pharmacy setting, they stock their drugs in anticipation of you coming to pick to fill your prescription. But there's from this class of drug called prescription-only medicine.
Now, the Benue State government has promised to take over the treatment of patients who have been bitten by snakes. The state says this will help reduce the burden of treatment on victims. Governor Samuel Otom gave the promise at the St. Theresa Catholic Church, Makurdi, during a fundraiser for interventions in schools and hospitals under the Resource and Planning Commission of the Catholic Diocese of Makurdi. The governor who commended the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi, Bishop Wilfred Chikpa Anagbe, for the initiative. Recalled that his partnership with the Bishop Murray Hospital, Makurdi, for the treatment of patients with snake bites had saved so many lives, with attendant huge costs, which he said necessitated the decision for the state government to take over the treatment of snake bite victims in the state. Stories. Members of the Ohaneze Ndigbo in Ondo State have kicked against the abolition of the Eze Ndigbo title by the Deji of Akure. Members of the group said Gregory Ilorhireka remains the leader of the Igbos in Ondo State. Now, speaking with newsmen, Ilorhireka sued for peace, saying he was duly elected by his people. Now, according to him, the staff of office was presented to him by the former Deji of Akure in 2011.
I was elected by Ohaneze Igbo community in Ondo State, and the people installed me as their Eze. And since that time, peace is reigning in the community and the Ondo State in general.
There's a letter constitution of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Ondo State, the way of selecting the Eze Ndigbo. About 100 years ago, we have been having our Igwe, and we have a way of selecting, getting our Igwe. 10 years ago, 2 of them contested and he won. I was presented to the then Deji of Akure. I was recognized as Eze Ndigbo Ondo State.
Reacting to the development, media aide to the Akure monarch Michael Adeye said the Eze Ndigbo title has been abolished in the state. He noted that the Council of Traditional Rulers in the state supported the abolishment.
Our advice to them is to join the Ohaneze Ndigbo Igbo community in those states to give peace a chance, because the other man who is parading himself contested the election with me and lost out.
So another person coming out to say is Aswaju, we don't know that. This is the person we know as Eze Ndigbo Ondo State. The constitution is there, the document is there, the pictures are there. When he was elected, when presented to the governor.
It was a unanimous decision of the Ondo State Council of Obas that, look, whether this can be established, whether this title can be traced or not, no, we don't want this kind of title. And it was unanimously agreed upon. And so since then, it has been abolished.
To go. Now, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has organized a prayer service for Nigeria over insecurity bedeviled the country as it marks 61 years of existence. Addressing newsmen at the prayer service in Kaduna State, Reverend Dr. John Joseph Hayab, CAN chairman in that state, says amidst challenges the country is faced with, Christians must continue to thank God while hoping for the best. Hayab, while reacting to the death of former CBN Deputy Governor Obadiah Mai-Lafia, who died on Sunday, said the Christian body had singled out his name for an award as the defender of the masses before his death.
This is one thing I would like, that every human being will die. If you don't die today, you will die tomorrow, you will die one day. Obadiah has lived his life, he has impacted lives positively, he has stand and defend your peace. I'm aware of the effort of CAN to celebrate Obadiah as a defender of the weak people. But God chose to take him before that, but he will still be remembered and celebrated even in death.
In his address, the guest speaker, Reverend Sunusa Nnamdi Ekwa, General Secretary, says the economy of the country is at its lowest. He adds that more than 80 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. Now, also, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, while reacting to the release of then Bethel Baptist High School students, says 100 are back home and have since reunited with their parents, but 21 of them are still with the abductors.
When you visit the market, the prices of food has gone beyond the reach of most Nigerians. The other day we were at a meeting with the Sultan, and he said expensive now to buy just a ball of onion. Our economy is not just sick, but our economy is at the intensive care unit with very, very bleak hope. Now, inflation has risen at an average of 18.77%.
The way God has made it possible. You know, the first day they took actually 121. So as at last evening, 100 have come back. I think it's good for us, you know, when we used to celebrate 100 of those that have come back. 21 are still with them. 20 are students, but 1 is metro. I hope you understand. Why I did what I just did is for you to go back home and continue to pray. That it will not be long, we shall have this children.
And now officers and men of the Nigerian Army have been advised to recognize the significance of their ranks and carry out their civic responsibilities with all diligence. The Director General, Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, Major General Garba Wahab, and other speakers gave the charge at the Leadership Awareness Development Course 2021 for senior non-commissioned officers of the Nigerian Army. Correspondent Kunle Ojo tells us more in this report.
Addressing the participants, Director General, Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, Major General Garba Wahab, retired, said leadership remains the brain behind any form of training in the Nigerian Army, adding that officers are trained to be leaders in their own rights. According to him, officers in the Army are potential leaders, but regretted that over the years, their belief had been eroded by a lot of things, making the officers to forget the significance of their ranks.
Because the least of the subunit is a section, and a section is led by a soldier. So even soldiers are trained to be leaders in their own right. But over time, a lot of things have happened, and we always want somebody ahead of us to tell us what to do. And that is not what it's supposed to be. Because even your rank signifies some importance. Yes, for the senior officers, we always talk about strategy. Strategy is generalship. It's all about planning and executing warfare.
He disclosed that the training was organized to reawaken the officers on the need to develop strategies that will assist them in discharging their civic responsibilities, especially at this critical period. The General Officer Commanding 2 Division, Nigerian Army, Odogbo Ibadan, Major General Gold Chibuzo, charged the participants to make the best out of the opportunities provided by the training, while the Divisional Training Officer, General Umar Muazu, enjoined the officers to position themselves for the tasks ahead.
At the company level, battalion level, brigade or divisional level, the DRSM is supposed to be the one that tells you what to do. It's acting for the GOC. It's not be me. Nigerians now, that's if we do this. We don't want that today, and that's the essence of the entire mission.
It is a common belief that the best way for a soldier is training. For indeed, when you train more in peacetime, you bleed less in war. Training is a necessary tool for capacity building that will enhance effective performance of personnel in the discharge of assigned tasks. The objectives of your course have been clearly spelled out by the Nigerian Army Resource Center. The inclusion of leadership framework, practices in peace, crisis, or war.
The Leadership Awareness and Development course is structured to cover leadership framework, practice in peace, crisis, or war, challenges to leadership, as well as military justice system and ethics.
Participants were drawn from the various divisions of the Nigerian Army across the country. From Ibadan, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
And now the Planned Parenthood Federation of Nigeria is calling on the Ogun State government to sustain the civil society organization engagement as part of efforts aimed at health systems strengthening and response mechanisms to improve the well-being of residents. The Regional Coordinator Southwest, Elizabeth Adeoye, made this known during a stakeholders meeting on impact of UNFPA-funded CSOE project in the state. She noted that the project, which is currently implemented in 3 selected communities in Ado-Ota, Shagamu and Abeokuta South local government areas, had provided capacity building for over 200 health workers on sexual reproductive health care provisions, as well as response and management of gender-based violence issues. Also speaking, the Acting Executive Director, PPFN, Dr. Okai Haruno, represented by Olayinka Muli, reaffirmed that the project had engaged stakeholders in the communities where they identified vulnerable women and other survivors of GBV who were supported with dignity kits, counseling and interventions to integrate them back into the society.
We want sustainability of what this project has done. Actually, this project is being implemented in Ogun State in only 3 local governments. That is Ado-Ota local government, Shagamu local government, and Abeokuta South. Those are the 3 local governments where we implemented the project. So what we want is that going forward from here, what has been done in the 3 local governments should be replicated in other local governments that have not been touched.
The project also developed a community action plan whereby the community take ownership on how to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in their own community, and also the issue of gender-based violence, which we all agree with me is a shadow pandemic from the coronavirus, because a lot of issue of this GBV was reported, especially in Ogun State, because I follow the record of Ogun State very well.
And away from Ondo State, residents of Obuwangwe community in Warri South local government area of Delta State have lamented over what they described as the failed drainage project of the state government, which has led to the flooding of their community. This is coming 2 months after the State Ministry of Works completed the drains and water channel project in the community, with the assurance that flooding will be a thing of the past in the community. The flooding, which is a result of an overnight downpour, prevented some markets and office complexes from opening. Some of the residents, including a community leader, called on the Delta State government to ensure that proper drainage is constructed than the hastily completed one.
To have a drainage and let the gutter begin to flow. If there's a drainage and the gutter flowing, it's like if you go to the channel where I came from. You see, it's making rain stop everywhere. So that we can do drainage and make the gutter flowing.
This has been experienced for several years, and it's a very wrong thing on a wrong work that we see today, because they did this thing so that there will be waterway and there will be free, there will be no any water flooding here. Yeah. But it was unfortunately that after the work, the thing continued.
It was a very myopic job. They give this kind of job, you don't give it to a quack company or motorbike company. You give it to specialists. This work, we're supposed not to be talking of this job, because the state government sometimes is giving contract to motorbike people, and it's not. It should be given to a standard company, and it should be once for all.
You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's take yet another break. We'll be back in just a moment with more reports. Please stay with us. Good to have you back. This is Galaxy TV News. Now, 300 residents and indigents of Ogun State have been registered to participate in the ongoing Mind Games Festival. Participants will be slugging it out in chess and draft in the maiden edition, which has already commenced in Ijebu-Ode, Odugbolu, and it will be played across the other local government in the state. According to Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Oluwadare Kehinde, the competition is designed to discover new talent at the grassroots level and prepare them for national and international engagement.
The game will be played across the 20 local government areas of the state, and the state officials will be at hand to oversee and judge the game. The competition is designed not just as a grassroots sport to discover building talent in chess, Okunwayo and drought, but also as a way to ensure that Ogun youth have analytical mind and well-defined and highly sophisticated thought pattern which can unlock any potential.
What we do in Nigeria, which is most annoying now, is that we don't develop sports, we promote sports. And those are the two major aspects of sports anywhere all over the world. It's either you promote or you develop. Ogun State, we are taking a giant stride, going back to the basics now, where you have the hidden talents. They are there, raw, ready to be tapped, to let the people in our rural areas to understand what we call sports.
In Ondo State, the Waste Management Authority has sealed ShopRite building in Akure and the neighborhood market at NEPA. The two places were shut for unsanitary and unhygienic practices. General Manager of the authority, Reverend Ayo Ademo, who disclosed this on Monday, said the owners of the affected facilities violated environmental laws and failed to comply with their laid-down hygienic practices. Traders at the markets have, however, pleaded with government to open the markets because most of their goods are perishable. Efforts made by Galaxy News correspondents to get reaction of the management of the mall proved abortive.
We just come here this morning, just see that they closed our market. They say now environmental closed these two places. So we don't buy market for this morning. Our market is here now. We don't see place where we sell. See where the same will do. All these ways we do and make the company open.
To carry out our enforcement activities on them. That neighborhood market, we have served several papers on them. I was even there personally with my sensation team. It was raining, but I was inside the rain talking to them. I bought shower cap and I capped my hair. I was letting them realize that they should not bring their waste to the media again. And if you enter the market, you will see most of the shops here, they have turned the shop into poultry. Poultry in the markets, it's not befitting.
You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's join our international desk for more stories.
Welcome to stories from the international scene. A gunman has killed 6 people at a university in the Russian city of Perm, officials say. The assailant walked onto the campus on Monday morning and started shooting. Students and teachers barricaded themselves inside the university building. Others were seen jumping up from windows. Police say they wounded and detained the attacker, who was said to be a student. More than 20 people were injured during the shooting. The incident occurred at around 1100 at Perm State University, located around 1,300 kilometers, that's 800 miles east, the capital of Moscow, in the Urals. Officials initially reported 8 had died, but subsequently revised the death toll down. One professor at the university described students leaping out of the buildings. They jumped out of the buildings in some horror, screaming, he told reporters. Other students locked themselves into classrooms in a bid to escape the gunman. There were about 60 people in the classroom. The gunman reportedly acted alone and said he had no political or religious motives. In a social media post, he also said he was consumed by hatred and intended to do harm to others. I've thought about this for a long time. It's been years and I realized the time had come to do what I dreamt of. he said on a social media account attributed to him that was later taken down. The gunman was identified as a student of the university, according to investigative committee that handles probes into major crimes. Pem University posted a message on social networks urging students who were in the building to stay in classrooms. Earlier this year, a 19-year-old gunman opened fire in his old school in the central Russian city of Kazan, killing 9 people. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned of a potential new Cold War between China and the United States and implored the two major powers to repair their completely dysfunctional relationship. We need to avoid at all costs a Cold War that will be different from the past one and probably more dangerous and more difficult to manage, Guterres said ahead of the annual UN General Assembly gathering of world leaders, a convening blemished by COVID, climate concerns and contentiousness across the planet. Guterres said the world's two major economic powers should be cooperating on climate and negotiating more robustly on trade and technology, given persistent political fissures about human rights, economics, online security and sovereignty in the South China Sea. 2 years ago, Guterres warned global leaders of the risk of the world splitting into two camps, with the US and China creating rival internets, currency, trade, financial rules, and their own zero-sum geopolitical and military strategies. He reiterated that warning, adding that two rival geopolitical and military strategies would pose dangers and divide the world. Thus, he said, the foundering relationship must be repaired and soon. The UN chief said a new Cold War could be more perilous because the Soviet-US antipathy created clear rules and both sides were conscious of the risk of nuclear destruction. Still on an international scene, Election Day is officially underway in Canada as voters choose the country's next parliament after a short campaign that saw Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberals in a neck-and-neck fight against the opposition Conservative Party. The first polls opened a newfound land on Canada's east coast at 8:30 a.m. local time, and Monday, more than 27 million people are eligible to cast their ballots according to Elections Canada, which administers the vote. A day earlier, Trudeau and Conservative leader Erin O'Toole made their final pitches to Canadians. Canada is at a crossroads. We now get to pick the right direction of our country to keep moving forward or to let Conservatives take us back, Trudeau said during a rally on Montreal where he's seeking re-election in the Papineau riding. Speaking to Conservative Party volunteers on Markham, Ontario, just north of Toronto, O'Toole hit back at Trudeau, accusing the Liberal leader of calling a $600 million election rather than focus on the health of people. The Canadian election campaign has been dominated by concerns over COVID-19 and mandatory vaccines, investments in health and child care, economic recovery plans and housing, among other key issues. Trudeau triggered the vote in mid-August, 2 years ahead of schedule, while experts said the Liberal leader called the election in hopes his government's handling of the coronavirus would give the party a majority. Trudeau has faced angry protests along the campaign trail, and many voters have criticized him for calling the vote during a fourth wave of the pandemic. Meanwhile, the official vote results may not be released on Monday night, Canadian media have reported, as election officials will need to count mail-in ballots. And finally, from the international scene, a man who was portrayed in a film as a life-saving hero during Rwandan genocide has been convicted of terrorism by a court in Rwanda. Paul Rusesabagina was found guilty of backing a rebel group from exile which killed civilians in attacks in 2018. His family have alleged that he was taken to Rwanda by force. They've also said he did not have a fair trial. The victim's journey from celebrated figure to state enemy happened as his criticism of the government grew. In a period of 100 days from April 1994, 800,000 people, mostly from the Tutsi ethnic group, were slaughtered. In the Oscar-nominated movie Hotel Rwanda, Rusesabagina, played by Don Cheadle, was shown how, as a hotel manager, he managed to protect more than 1,000 people who had sought shelter. But as his profile was raised following the release of the film in 2005, His criticism of the post-genocide government and President Paul Kagame gained a wider audience. Living in exile, he went on to lead an opposition coalition which had an armed wing, the National Liberation Front, FLN. The FLN was accused of carrying out attacks in 2018 in which authorities said 9 people were killed. Rusesabagina's family have said that he was kidnapped and forcibly taken to Rwanda last year. But in court, one witness spoke about how he had tricked Rusesabagina onto a plane in Dubai by telling him it was flying to neighboring Burundi. He withdrew from the trial in March this year, shortly after it began, saying that he was not being given a fair hearing. And that's it from the international scene at this time.
And now to wrap things off, let's join the entertainment desk for more stories.
Welcome to Entertainment News. Ms. Abuja Oluchi Madubike has emerged winner of the Most Beautiful Girl in Nigeria, MBGN 2021. The beauty pageant held at Eco Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos, with 37 women who contested for the crown, but Oluchi Madubike was crowned winner. She will be representing Nigeria at the 2021 Miss World pageant, which will take place in Puerto Rico on December 16, 2021. The first runner-up is Miss Anambra Maristella Okpara. She will also represent Nigeria at the Miss Universe pageant, while Miss Abia Adeze Chineme is the second runner-up and represent Nigeria at Miss Supranational. Meanwhile, rapper Rugged Man is a year older today, September 20, and has released new photos to mark the day. Michael Ugochukwu Stephens, known professionally as Rugged Man, is a Nigerian rapper from Ohofia, Abia State. Happy birthday to you, Rugged Man, from all of us at Galaxy Television. Meanwhile, still celebrating, Nigerian actress Dakore Egusin Akonde celebrates first child as she turns 10 today. The actress took to Instagram to celebrate her child while extolling her best qualities. The actress shares 2 daughters with husband Olumide Akonde. In another news, legendary television figure whose full name is RuPaul Charles on Sunday night, September 19, made Emmy history by becoming the most awarded person of color in the show's history with 11 wins. The host and producer broke the record for the most Emmy wins by a person of color as RuPaul's Drag Race was named Outstanding Competition Program on Sunday night. The series is the most awarded reality competition show at the Emmys. His show knocked out popular shows like Nailed It, Top Chef, The Voice, and The Amazing Race. He appreciated children from around the world telling their stories of courage and how to navigate their difficult life, even more difficult today. And finally, on entertainment news, popular Nollywood star Etinosa has been thrown into mourning following the tragic death of her beloved father, engineer S.O. The actress took to her Instagram page with a blank post through which she expressed the pain and grief she's passing through. Etinosa still expressed shock over the fact that she lost her dad and disclosed that she saw him weeks before his death and had even made preparations for his return to the house. She continued by appreciating her father for being the perfect role model who put his church and family first. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. And that'll be all on entertainment news.
And with that, we conclude our news at this time. But for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us at our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our eyewitness feature by WhatsApp. Simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And that's your Galaxy TV News at this time. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, thank you so much for your company. We urge you to please keep safe. I am Kelly Egiga, and I will see you again next time. Bye.